Okay, another episode of the Elite Show with MSCS Media. And John, this is a special one.
Yeah, this one's going to be on a guy that I grew up with, Benny Geritano. He's from Brooklyn. I know him actually since he's about 14, 15 years old. So this is a guy in the mob world, was well respected. Somebody that was very dangerous. And most guys on the street that knew him, either if they weren't his friend, they stayed away from him. They feared him. He's a big guy. He's a tough guy. And the gangsters themselves, most of them were petrified of him.
What family was he from?
He was involved with several different families, the Gambino family, one of them. And he's been hanging around different people, different crews, the Lucchese family, he knew guys. So he's got a wide variety of different people. But his stepdad, Anthony Mancuso, they call him Little Anthony, was made guy with us, with the Gambino family. He was around John Gotti Sr. And he was killed at Bedrocks years ago in the mid-'80s over a dispute with a guy that he was shaking down, and the guy ended up shooting him unexpectedly in the basement and killed him. Again, that was, I guess, in about the mid-'80s. At that time, John Gotti wanted it revenged. He asked me and another guy, Bobby Borriello, to go lay on the guy and make it look like a robbery. The guy lived on the west side, and he used to carry a bag full of money, paper bag. He wanted to make it look like a robbery. We were going to hit the guy that killed his stepdad. It never happened. We laid on him a couple of times, and for whatever reason, which obviously he's not going to discuss with us, he called the hit off.
Now, when you say laid on him, for anybody that doesn't know, what does laid on them mean in that world?
That means to clock him. We know he comes out, 4 or 5 in the morning after the nightclub closes, and then he goes home. There was an old-style diner a couple blocks from his house, so we'd wait. Sometimes he'd come by, grab something. I guess it was a coffee or something from what we were told. And then he'd go into a walk-up apartment building he lived in. He didn't live in a doorman apartment building, the guy. So we were supposed to hit him in the vestibule there and take the bag of money as if it was a robbery where we killed the guy.
I see. So laying on him is like a private investigator, like wives and husbands get that. So like you're like watching what he does, so you know his movements, his times in and out, so that when you go to clock him, you have his schedule down pat, right?
Exactly. We're scoping him, so we're going to see which way he walks home, where he stops, what times. Does he come with anybody else? If he did, that person was going to get killed too, actually. So that was it. If he brought somebody else with them, we were supposed to hit them with them. And we laid on him a couple of times. I believe it was 2 or 3 times, if I remember correctly. It's years ago. But at least 2 times, I think it was 3. And after the 3rd time, we were supposed to hit him, and Gotti called it off. In my opinion, it had to be because of money, like most things. The guy's gone, and when a guy's gone, they don't do anything. Nothing comes out of that. And then later on, he can't do nothing for anybody if he's dead. And the next guy that ended up having that club, and the club was with him, was Mikey Scars DiLeonardo, who was a skipper, or it was Bobby that had it when we hit, and then Mikey. I don't remember which way that went. But either way, Bobby was called to do the hit with me. I think Bobby did have the guy next.
So you think it was called off, just somebody paid to have it called off?
Well, the guy himself was a wealthy guy, and he was partners with another guy, Steve Kaplan, who was a well-liked guy. Steve Kaplan was a Jewish guy that later on opens up the Gold Club in Atlanta. That was very famous for the basketball players, Ewing and different people, and that brought a case also to the Gambino family and Mikey Scars DiLeonardo. So later on in life, and that was later on, Mikey Scars gets locked up for that case, and the Gambino family's involved in that. So he had a relationship with the Gambino family. Steve Kaplan, as the years went on, got away from everybody in the Gambino family. He had a club also, Club Boca, in Boca Raton, Florida. This podcast is brought to you by Vincero Collectives. Go to Vincero Collectives at our link, www.vincerocollectives.com/elite, to see some of my favorite picks. Use the code ELITE and receive 15% off and free shipping to our listeners.
Hey, John, you remember back in the day, if you wore gold, everything had to be gold. Then if you had silver, it always had to be silver. Now you can mix and match. It's two-tone is normal.
Yeah.
At Vincero Collectives, they have rose gold, silver, gold. They have everything. Sunglasses, other bands. I see you got the leather, the brown leather band today with you. Now, does that have that leather smell? You know when you get a real leather bag or anything leather, you know, that real smell.
You know what it reminds me of? When I was a kid and I played baseball, I had that first glove and I'd smell that leather.
The pitcher's mitt.
Yeah, and that's what this smells like. I mean, I got to tell you, it's a sharp watch. Look at this watch. And I'm going to say, you know how many people complimented it since I'm wearing it? And they asked what it is. I said, Vincero Collectives. Go buy it.
Vincero Collective. If you don't know Vincero yet, they're a premium lifestyle brand in San Diego carrying watches, sunglasses, and much more. Perfect for men and women of any style. Creating exceptionally crafted, ethically made products for today's most ambitious people. Modern pieces that elevate your look and stand the test of time. The process, well, Vincero Collectives is committed to doing things well or not at all. They believe in constant commitment to improvement and make products for those who do too. Known for their process, Vincero designs everything in-house, sources their own materials, produces in small batches so you know it's good, and ships right to you. Modern, ethical brand with goal of crafting premium lifestyle accessories for those devoted to growth in any and all aspects of life, health, wealth, community. Their products, well, they're very stylish, quality, versatile. Eye-catching modern designs to go with any outfit or style. Perfect for a day at the office or a night out. Great brand to shop yourself, significant other, or anyone for that matter. Valentine's Day gifting, it's coming up. Products made to last with quality you can feel. Vincero Collective watches. Stainless steel, durable, silicone, and Italian marble straps. Surgical grade stainless steel casing with Italian marble inlay. Traditional automatic Japanese coarse movements. Their sunglasses, all lenses are polarized, frames handcrafted.
Reviews. You don't need to take my word for it. With over 30,000 five-star reviews, features in Forbes, Business Insider, and Newsweek, just to name a few. Vincero offers you a shopping experience you can trust. From quality you can feel, the style you can't deny. Vincero Collective guarantees to up your game. Vincero is offering a special 15% and free shipping to our listeners with code ALITE. So support our show and check them out at VinceroCollective.com/elite. Vincero gave me the parking from it because I had the parking company. So he did business with the Gambino family. He made a lot of guys a lot of money. Steve was a nice guy. His partner, I didn't know, that killed Anthony. Little Anthony, we used to call him. Anthony was a tough guy, wild man. And
Why'd they end up killing him?
Over that, little Anthony got killed over shaking him down, and he brought him down the basement of the club at Bedrocks. And I think the Jewish guy that was partners with Steve Kaplan thought he was getting hit or whacked. And he pulled the gun and just started shooting Anthony. But Anthony was down there to kill him. He was just intimidating him. But over the years, you know, his stepson, which was Benny, was a little younger than me. I think about 5-6 years younger than me. And, you know, I met him. I got friendly with him. He used to go out with me and drink because he was a bigger guy. He can get in the clubs. In those days, you get in anyway. But he was a big guy, and even at that age, people were afraid of him. And then, you know, I stayed in touch over the years. I was in and out of jail. He was in and out of jail. And I stayed in touch with his mother, Cece, a little bit, and, you know, see how Benny was doing and different things. And, you know, he stayed in touch with me, contacted me recently over a couple of years ago, and we've been talking back and forth. And he knows we have the show, and he wanted something said about it.
Now, what makes Benny so important to you that you're willing to put him on the show and do this? What? Because, you know, there's 100 guys, you know, that are in jail. What is it with him that separates him to you personally to do this for him?
Well, first off, what we do on this show is try to help people get second and third chances. And, you know, we're trying to bring out the truth and see, you know, there's one thing about the guy. Like him or not, and this is for the people that are out there that know him. You like him or not, he wears his heart on the sleeve.
I like that.
So this is what I truly believe. If he did this, he wouldn't be talking that he didn't do this. He would just eat it and say, yeah, I did it, fuck it, and that's that. He'd do his time, and, you know, he's doing his time anyway. But he would do his time without, you know, complaining or trying to get to the truth and go after the people that he believes fucked them. So I believe in him as a person. So people will say, why would you believe in this maniac? Because I know this maniac. I know this maniac is a good guy. So he's that same guy that would help you and protect you or give you his last dollar. And I didn't know his father like that, stepdad like that, because I was a younger guy. I was in my early 20s. But the father had some temper, the stepfather. But I didn't know his personality like I know Benny's. So Benny I could talk firsthand for. Little Anthony I could talk for as a tough guy. I know everybody was afraid of him. But Benny, I do know his personality. He's a guy that you don't want to step in front and get on the wrong side of him. But on the other hand, he's also the guy that if he's your friend, he'll step in front of you and help you. And I mean in front of you with anything.
In other words, he's a real man.
Oh, he's a tough
Like, if he's your friend, he's your friend. If he's not, there's no bullshit with him.
I never had a bad experience with Benny over the years with our friendship. You know, guys say, well, you got to, I never had that with him. So I could only speak highly of him from my relationship with the guy, whether it was on the street or whether it was in prison or whether it was somebody talking bad about me or somebody trying to make a move on me. He was always that guy that stayed loyal as a friend.
And now you're staying loyal back to him.
I want to get to the bottom of the truth, and if he deserves his freedom, I think that, you know, if we can help him, yeah, I want to help him, because I really believe what he tells me, because like I said, this is not a guy. If he did something, he'd just say, I did it. I got caught and I got to do my time. He's not talking like this in other incidents that he had trouble over the years. He ate it. This is the first time he isn't. So this really makes me believe that there's a lot of truth to what he's saying. Okay,
so before we get into the question and answer, can you tell us what he did, like, you know, what his crime was, what he was charged with, what he was sentenced to, and then we'll get into the question.
This episode of the Elite Show is brought to you by Fume. That's F-U-M. Go to www.breathefume.com/elite. Use the code ELITE to get 10% off. It's time to quit smoking naturally.
No smoke, no vape, no harmful chemicals. Flavorful plant-packed cores to reduce cravings and support recovery. Fume makes the gap to nicotine-free easier with a natural inhaler that curbs cravings and supports recovery. Quit naturally today and save 10% off with code ELITE. That's www.breathefume.com/elite. Use the code ELITE to save 10% off. I'm almost down, John. Almost. I'm getting there, and the product definitely does work.
I have neighbors that tried Fume, F-U-M, and I got to tell you the truth, every one of them were happy. Within a month, they quit smoking. Once again, that's www.breathefume.com/elite. Use the code ELITE for 10% off.
No smoke, no vape, no harmful chemicals.
Well, this is what I'm going to say. And, you know, I don't really want to say too much about the case because these are his exact words.
So it could fuck him.
And we interviewed him. And, you know, we did several interviews with him on telephones for the people that are listening. We did several interviews through emails. And we did a Q&A with him while he was in jail. And I want you to read the questions, right, that we presented to him. And I'm going to read word for word his answers, so no one can misconstrue what he said, and for his benefit, so his words are exactly what he said. For the audience's benefit, for any law enforcement or any victims or people that are against him or any gangsters that are against him. So this way, these words are directly his.
Right.
I'll read them exactly how he said them, wrote them, and the discussions we had.
And I'll read the exact questions as he had put them as well. And also any lawyer that might be interested in, you know, trying to help the guy out as well.
Well, there's a lot of lawyers out there that do a lot of pro bono work. And also, we'll do a GoFund for him. We'll put it up, and the people that want to help him, they can go to that GoFund site, and they can help him with any financial donations they want to give towards his lawyer or any lawyer that wants to help him. Listen, if I'm a lawyer, I would like a case like this, because these cases can bring a lawyer that has no notoriety, who is a good lawyer, some notoriety. And for his benefit, anybody that steps forward and brings out the truth to something that maybe you're saving somebody's life, it's something that we do. You know, we try to help people that are in trouble. one way or another. Some people ask me, why do I help some of the people I help if you don't like them that much? Because this other Benny I like a lot. But I'm talking about some of the other people that me and you discussed that I don't even really have that much of a personality thing where I like them. But I don't do it for that reason. You don't do it for that reason. And the show's not for that reason.
It's if it's wrong, it's wrong.
It's wrong, it's wrong.
It has nothing to do with if you like them or don't like them.
Exactly.
You know, that's a personal thing.
And
wrong is
we can let people judge after some of the truth. Now, for the people also that don't know, his paperwork he sent back to me, who I did give to some lawyers that are looking at it, and also a friend of mine that's involved in projects in the movie business and documentaries, and he's been working on it. So this paperwork is in someone's hands who's to a much higher level than we are on our show for the exposure or possibly a documentary and he's researching to get to the truth about the case.
That's a good point. A lot of like pro bono lawyers, they can become that 100K to walk in my office over a case like this if you beat it.
Yeah, this was a well-known case. It was in the media. I believe Gangland wrote about it, Jerry Capisci. So maybe Cosa Nostra News wrote about it. I don't know if any of the other small outlets or sites did anything. I know it was in the newspapers. And like I said, this is not a guy that's not known to the mob world. This is a guy that's very known to the mob world, and he's very feared. So when guys are feared, sometimes this is what goes on. They don't get justice. So we're going to find out if there's a way for him to get, and at least, like I always say, let it get looked at again. You know, so if we bring this to the forefront and people did him wrong, lawyers sold him out, gangsters fucked him over, sold him out, the truth will come out, and those people can account for what they did.
Okay, so what I'm going to do on Benny's behalf is read the questions verbatim, and then you'll read the answers verbatim.
I'm going to read the answers verbatim.
Okay, sure. So Benny's first question, tell us why you feel, or the first question to Benny, I'm sorry. Tell us why you feel you were framed for the stabbing case in Bay Ridge 9 years ago.
Okay, here's his answer. First question, first answer. For starters, the so-called victim in the incident, Nunzio Fusco, knows it wasn't me. It's why he never identified me as the stabber at any time during the interviews, in the hospital, the photo array or lineup, not even in trial. I'm only here because the police officer committed perjury. He lied in the felony complaint. Accusatory instrument. Where the detective said Fusco identified me as the stabber, Fusco himself provided a sworn affidavit 2 years ago, providing this it's all based upon a false arrest, authorized by vindictive prosecutors out of Charles Hines' office in Brooklyn. The lawyers and judges are covering it up. But documents that they all withheld from me for 8 years proves it all. They're not even valid, nor do they conform with the New York state laws and statutes. So we'll go this step by step. Now he's saying and stating the victim says he didn't do it. The victim signed an affidavit from him. So that's the first red flag of the case for the prosecutions. Now, with everything that's going on in this country and people talking about false arrests and cover-ups, and, you know, we're familiar with both sides of the law, obviously. I was once in trouble, changed my life, and I'm doing what I do. And then we have Mike Dowd with us a lot, who was an ex-cop, was a cop, now an ex-cop. He broke the law and was a criminal, and he went to prison. So we do understand this happens.
Yeah.
Now, as we go with each question and answer, we'll see what this goes.
So to sum it up, his answer there. So basically he's saying what?
That he was arrested based on a false arrest authorized by vindictive prosecutor.
Okay.
That the victim's saying it wasn't him, and he signed an affidavit to that.
Okay, so on Benny's behalf, you mean to tell me that no one knows this? Or are you saying they know it and they're trying to conceal it?
You mean to tell me? No, let's see. Okay, here's his answer to that. I was the last to find this out in January 2020. I was arrested in January 2013. 4 private local lawyers all refused to give me the documents. Now, that's 4 lawyers that are refusing to give him lawyers. I don't know the list of those lawyers' names, and we can get them. The clerk of the court refused to give me the documents. The appellate division refused to give me the documents. I have letters from the appellate division denying me the documents on 2 separate occasions when I was doing the appeal. They wouldn't grant me an extension of time, nor would they give me the documents to raise it on direct appeal. They are concealing this wrongful arrest. Vindictive prosecution, unlawful imprisonment. They denied me every constitutional right that I'm supposed to be guaranteed under both state and federal constitutions, its amendments and articles. So, under exactly what he's writing here, if he's not getting his discovery, he should be under a legal appeal. Now, the lawyers that we're going to have to find out, and the investigator on the documentary out of Italy, he's looking into all these things. He does have the paperwork. Benny did send the actual documents and paperwork that he has. So they're being reviewed.
That's weird. No discovery. I don't even know how you could prosecute a case without giving the defense the discovery. I mean, I'm not a lawyer, so I don't know.
Well, we got to see what these lawyers do say. I want to get an answer from these lawyers.
And that's Benny's next question on his behalf. What do the lawyers say at this point? What do the defense lawyers say?
I couldn't get a lawyer to properly defend me is his answer, because the powers from the local government officials that are involved had to do it pro se. They are protecting the prosecutors since Cuomo passed a legislative bill in 2019 that enables corrupt prosecutors to be sentenced to double the time they sentence an innocent man or woman for, especially if it can be proven, and in my case it can be proven. They refused to give me a hearing to call in the victim and the arresting officer because the conflicting documents and statements call for an immediate and automatic reversal. Furthermore, the victim's girlfriend identified Harry Shasho. I don't know if that's spelled right, Shasho, Harry Shasho, the stabber. So he's saying Harry Shasho at the scene of the crime as the stabber. Yet no one wants to allow the hearing that exonerates me of a crime that Shasho was identified for to this day. Not one single person claims I did it or they saw me do this. Only the cops and prosecutors say I did it and they weren't there. These same people destroyed live video footage showing the actual fight because it proved I was innocent. These same people cherry-picked a clip where I'm standing what they claim is a knife, but no one is being stabbed. After that incident, where there were 20 people who were involved in a fighting incident, and Fusco was injured in a different part of the nightclub. So Fusco's hurt and was injured in a different part of the nightclub. Every lawyer will say that my lawyers fucked me, and they did. But they still refuse to take the case due to their alliances. The lawyers who came to the precinct, Vincent Romano is Harry Shasho's friend, 35 years. He made sure his friend was not charged, and I was. He made sure he held the issues off the record at the arraignment, where they sidebar for the people that don't know, where he should have objected to the factually insufficient accusatory instrument because it is not signed by the complainant or anyone else. It doesn't even have a supporting affidavit to accompany it, as the New York State criminal procedure laws state that it must. See for yourself. NYS Criminal Law 100.15, 100.30, 100.40, 140.45. See also People v. Machado, Bronx County, 1999, and Shirley v. Schumann, 1991. This is case law he's stating for the people who don't know. Where the New York State Appellate Division ruled absent a proper verification, the accusatory instrument is not a valid document and must accordingly be dismissed as such. How is it that the sitting judges allowed the single most important document in criminal case, the document that gives the court jurisdiction to proceed? If it's valid and denies the court invalid, and if it denies the court jurisdiction to proceed, if it's not valid to go as far as it has, unargued, unaddressed in any hearing on the record. Double question mark. This is why our prisons are packed. The lawyers sell us out. In this case, my lawyer sold me out again and again and again. The judges continue to disregard their oaths of office and to be fair and impartial. Do you think if they want to be the ones to pay me $20 million for all these years I sat in a cage after one another for a crime someone else committed? They made careers with the false accusations they had the media print. They prosecuted me through the media. He's stating case law. He's stating accusatory statements from illegal statements that are not being presented into public.
So with all these facts that he's obtained and all this information that he's obtained, how did you go about getting a hearing necessary to prove this?
Is this your question?
This is his question.
Here's his answer. So Benny's next answer to your question, can you repeat that question?
Sure. Sure. So on the behalf of Benny, how do you get the necessary hearing that is needed to prove this, being that he's obtained all these facts and information over the last 9 years, I believe, that he's been sitting in there?
Okay. His answer is, for one, if we can obtain enough signatures on a petition, we can petition the court to grant the hearing based on actual innocence. The newly discovered evidence, the eyewitness, all the support by my actual innocence and the false arrest, these people, these judges, these lawyers, these prosecutors are all in bed together. They don't play fair with us because we don't know the law or study it until it's too late, and the lawyers already sold us out. They all made their pay for doing so, while we sit in cages like animals. Yet when they get arrested, they get bails, appeals, time cuts, and pardons. This is the problem with the system.
Yeah, I mean, so on behalf of Benny, I'm saying to Benny, how can the listeners of this show help?
Well, this is Benny's answer to that. Well, John, you have the documents. I will send you the letters from the courts, from One Police Plaza. Providing they denied the request, you have the actual accusatory instrument, felony complaint. You have the so-called victim's very own sworn statement, which in itself contradicts the cops. I have the victim statements, and I did pass it on to the guys that are investigating it right now into a documentary, and they're trying to get lawyers, and hopefully whoever's listening to this will come forward as an attorney that would be interested in and coming forward and helping and at least looking into this case to the facts. I do have the factual part of the felony complaint that says Fusco told him he did it. But better yet, I have the testimony of the cop himself in federal court on the stand on the oath saying Nunzio Fusco, I got to go to the next page, never ever at any time said it was me. Fusco never said it was me that stabbed him. The very own words of the arresting detective who maliciously manufactured this false arrest and vindictive prosecution. His testimony is on an official court transcript. Nobody can refute this. Nobody, I'll repeat, can refute this. What more do we need? What more do the courts need? They know I can now prove this, and I cannot get a lawyer to get me into court on actual innocence because they're all members of the bar who refuse to betray each other. The lawyers will not go against one another.
And then he says, so we're saying that the viewers can help, the show can help exonerate with enough support?
So what Benny's saying is here on the next answer is, and that was a question I asked, how can we exonerate him? How can we help? How can we get him another hearing or somebody to look at this? I'm saying to you and your viewers can help in many ways. A petition to the courts demanding I'm to receive a hearing to call in the parties of interest for their testimony that was either withheld from the jury and record and the public, that was misled by fraudulent claims against me both in court and through the media. Remember, my children have been affected by this as well. So he has a couple of kids too. They have been deprived of their father who loves them, and for 9 years the victim and his family have been misled, made to assume it was I who injured him, when in fact the man who was identified as the driver around in Porsches, in fact the man who was identified drives around in a Porsche and Ferraris. He's the stabber. The juries who are not given the entire truth and who are denied the testimony of these people along with the perjured document that initiated this whole vindictive persecution, along with the testimony from the detective in a federal hearing they were not afforded the opportunity to read. My jury never read this, and hear and base their determination on for the credibility of not only the cops, but even the validity of the arrest, let alone trial.
You finally almost mispronounced a word. You would have made me look better if you would have.
It's these glasses.
Is that what it is?
Yeah.
Okay. And then he says, do you think a petition's valid?
The answer to that question is these elected judges are on the bench to ensure that each and everyone is afforded the rights to protect and prevent us from the kind of corruption. They must be reminded that they can also be removed and asked to resign. It comes to light that instances such as mine are continuous and repetitive. Look at what's going on in the history before and now all over the media. There's so much corruption going on that people woke up that what I'm saying isn't a story, but it's factual that goes on daily. These cops and prosecutors destroy lives without a repercussion because of their immunity. Look at the same Kings County District Attorney, Charles Hines, in my case, knowingly prosecuted all those innocent people that Detective Lou Scarcella put away on false identifications. So far, over 50 of the convictions have been reversed. And it's taken years as people are sitting in cages, years without your loved ones, and of living like slaves, being told what to shower, when to eat, when they can go outside. How do you hold your family on a visit? They take away the God-given life and freedom of mankind. Is there anyone on the planet Earth who will swear under oath and penalty of perjury that Lou Scarcella and Charles Hines and Mike Vecchione, his chief prosecutor, had no idea these witnesses were lying from the get-go? Some cases, the same witnesses were used again and again and again until it was discovered what they did. Did Hines or Vecchione go to prison? Is anyone prosecuting them? Is anyone showing that they knew these people were lying? These corrupt officials all conspired with each other as an act in concert. The public and the taxpayers have the right to demand by my petition that a wrongful accused man or woman be given a hearing to call into question all the evidence these courts kept off the record. And when argued, their so-called defense attorneys. These courts kept off the record and went unargued by these so-called defense attorneys. They sidebarred, is what he's saying. So it's not on the record.
I have a question for you, which leads into the next question. All that's on my house is the ID channel. I have to go in another room because I can't stand it 24/7. Seen enough of that shit. So with the lie detector test, I've always been confused about that. Is that admissible in court or not?
I'm not sure on the legalities of that. I believe it may not be used legally in a court of law. I'm really not sure, but it helps if
maybe like a lawyer would come along.
Well, if I was accused of something and the prosecutor asked me, would you be willing to take a lie detector test? And I said yes. It'll help them to understand that I'm not hiding anything. So it is used, and I think you can bring it into court. I don't know what it is considered under evidential rules. I'm really not sure. I'm not an attorney. But I know guys have used the lie detector test that they passed in the court of law prior.
Would Benny be willing to take a lie detector test and be questioned?
What you're saying is, will Benny take a lie detector test?
Yeah. Would Benny be willing to submit to a lie detector test for questioning?
His answer is absolutely, with 6 exclamation marks.
So I'll take that as a yeah.
Yeah. I said this from the door, meaning as soon as it happened. No one wants that. No one wants the truth to come out. Would I take a lie detector test that I don't think I could pass? I will take 10 lie detector tests. No one wants the truth to come out. It proves the cops and prosecutors and judges are the criminals who broke the law, not me. These are the imposters who deceive the ordinary people every day. These are the people who lie to the judges and the taxpayers and manipulate public opinions through the media. And I could prove it all in one hearing. See, the problem is, and here's one of the problems. And we're working with different law enforcement in helping children, and I go do talks and different things. And I said to him, the problem, and me and Mike Dow discussed this with you prior, when you lose confidence in one bad cop that does something, and this may be the one bad cop that hid the evidence or lying about who really did the stabbing. Now, if he is that one bad cop, the problem that one bad cop does, he destroys the credibility of 300 good cops. So the lion's share of the police officers are good, but then you have one bad one that rips apart everything good that everybody's doing. And this is what's hurting the system. Because overall, you know how I feel. Because I was one-time gangster that changed my life, and I said, and I believe most of these police officers, whether it's NYPD or any, are good. But then you have
that
couple
one
that were like Mike Dow when he was living in that life, and Mike's the first one to tell you that the problem is you need guys like us or him to do these talks to these academies, to these young officers, so they understand. I'm a big advocate of what's going, of speaking up for the NYPD. But at the same time, they got to make a decision, and I've said this, over what's constitutional rights and what's somebody's mandate. Because mandates are not law. And they need to say to themselves, I'm not going to be a Nazi soldier. I'm here to fight crime, and I'm also here to protect and serve. And by going out and chasing after people and arresting people, intimidating and threatening people because they're being told to do that by de Blasio as a mayor, they ruin their credibility with the rest of the public. And here's public opinion now. Because you have a lot of NYPD officers, firemen, first responders that did not want to be mandated, forced to take a shot. Yet their brothers and sisters, if they see them in a pizza place or a Burger King without identification that took that shot, are arresting them or telling them to leave, or chasing them out of a restaurant. And they got to say to themselves, is that what I signed up to be in uniform for?
And you defund me?
Or, yeah.
I mean, how do you defund the police, man?
Yeah, this is the problem with a lot of police, because they say I'm only doing my job, but they're not. They need to take a stand and say, my job is to protect the American people, and that my job is the Constitution. My job is not to force a mandate that is not a law. And here's where a young officer needs to say to himself, am I going to be that person, or am I going to be someone who's intelligent enough to know I need to make a decision here? Just like in Germany, it's not an excuse to kill a kid or a woman or a man or anybody because Hitler told me to, my general told me to, my captain told me to. So this is a problem when they don't make that right decision. And what he's saying, what Benny's saying, is 100% correct. If he's the one officer, the other 300 officers should throw him under the bus, because he's the guy that's ruining for the rest of them. And if you're the guy that's going to chase a 5-year-old kid out of Burger King that we discussed the other day in uniform, and then you're going to want public opinions against you, you better think about that.
You're right. Next. Okay. Are you saying that if we get a hearing through petition, that he would probably get out? That he was falsely arrested and has been in jail for 9 years?
Again, the answer is absolutely. It's easy to say I was found guilty by a jury, but the jury is not there when they discuss the important facts and the issues of the case. Half the time they're doing it on a sidebar. We the defendant is there, they don't do it all at the sidebar. And off the record, they destroy our grounds for appeals to hide the matters from the defendants who are untrained in law and statutory. We aren't attorneys. We're guys from the street, just regular people going to work, going about our lives, sometimes making mistakes. But that doesn't mean I should be in prison for something I didn't do. Law and statutory and constitutional protections and safeguards and rules, that's why they're there, to protect us.
Which is what kind of you just said, pretty much.
Pretty much what I covered before.
Next one? Okay. What does the prosecution say to him, and what did the newspapers and reporters say?
I heard that the victim's then girlfriend, now wife, actually identified as Harry Shash. How come she was never called in as a witness? This is what I heard, and this is what I want to know. Why, if the wife actually identified this Harry Shasho or Shash, how come she was never called in as a witness? That in itself is proof that both the prosecutor and defense lawyer worked together. What defense lawyer wouldn't call in an eyewitness who identified someone other than his client who was on trial? Better yet, what prosecutor wouldn't call in an eyewitness who identified the perpetrator? And if it gets better than this, because you have a sworn statement from John Cerbone, Nunzio Fusco's cousin, who went with the victim to my defense attorney's home, where it says that Nunzio's girlfriend told them it was not me who stabbed him, but it was the big guy in the white t-shirt. The police description states the perpetrator had a white dress shirt on, and the victim testified I was wearing all black in the grand jury. I was wearing all black. All black does not sound like an all white dress shirt. It seems I am the ham sandwich on the old cliche that talks about when they say the grand jury will indict a ham sandwich, especially when they keep eyewitnesses from appearing and telling the grand jury the eyewitnesses know nothing. How can this possibly be the United States of America? And what kind of laws are these when they can be abused and our constitutional rights aren't kept?
How come this girlfriend wife hasn't come forward with the fact of what she's saying? She's identified Harry Sash. So why hasn't the girlfriend or wife come forward with that yet?
About the stabbing and the fact the eyewitness were both men identified for stabbing, and the head of the security, who both provide a sworn statement that confirms the fact that Nunzio's girlfriend identified the man in the white shirt, who they kept out of the grand jury and trial.
Why hasn't Benny's friends, other than you, it seems, and his family helped?
The Fuscos refuses to allow her to be involved.
Ugh.
And to exonerate me, knowing it wasn't me who stabbed him. He don't care an innocent man is in prison because he knows the truth, that the truth was destroyed. He got paid by Crime Victim Services and the club's insurance. The club's insurance paid him for his actions that he created a 20-person freefall because he was a drunken idiot. Nothing but a dumb drunk. And I'm sitting here suffering because a guy is a drunken idiot. Now, as far as his family and friends and why they haven't helped, God protect me from my friends. I can take care of my enemies. Should I sum that up? They chose the mob over a true friend. They even belong in the mob, meaning the mafia for the people who are listening. They even belong in the mob. They're fill in the blanks because the men like me are endangered species. This includes my family. They're gutless dogs. One brother is a clown who thinks this is a joke. The other never had a fist fight in his life. They hang out with my enemies. They smoke cigars. They sit around like dummies. But none of them even had a fist fight. What does that tell you? Hello, treacherous, huh? Gutless dogs. I call on someone I know these rat wise guys threw under the bus like they did me. I call on somebody that these rat wise guys threw under the bus like they did me. He's referring to my situation in the past.
That's the worst. That's like when your girlfriend's hanging out with some guy you absolutely hate. She know, your girlfriend or your wife or whoever, they know you hate this guy, and then that's the guy they go to choose to be with or cheat on you with or whatever. You know what I mean?
He says to me here, buddy, I call on you because you speak the truth. And sadly, the truth is not what many people like to hear. I call on you because you had honor and respect, and you were always a gentleman. I call on you because I stood side by side with you for 35 years ago when I was 15 years old and we were kids against 20 men, while the so-called made guys stood behind us because they didn't have the balls to confront their foe. So we did the fighting for them. Nothing has changed. I call on you because we have a common goal, exposing the truth and reality of these made guys and imposters, impersonating gangsters from another time. And the guys from another time were men. It was a different world. The guys from today, these guys are a joke. And this is why men like us have been sacrificed by them and their families. I call on your viewers as Americans and taxpayers that fear the corruption in the courts and what these treacherous lawyers can do. Get away with in these courts. Use me as a tool, expose this crooked local law enforcement agencies like the NYPD. When you have law enforcement that don't speak against the other officers in NYPD and Kings County DA's office, this is what you have. You have a public that does not trust the NYPD. This isn't about me. There's a bigger picture. If it can happen to me, it can happen to every person that's out on the street. And that's the point about a fairness of the system. And I'm asking for that fairness of the system to be respected, not just for me as an individual, but us as a country, as a neighborhood. And King County's DA's office used me to prove certain lawyers will sell you out as they did to me. So it prevents others from using these lawyers in the future. I call on you people to help an innocent man get home so he can advocate and help other innocent men and women. I don't want to be near the street. I am done with the street. I have a new life. I have children. I have people in my family that love me. I have a mother. I want to come home around this country who have been victims of these cops and help them, as the same thing has happened to me. It's frustrating. Yes, I wasn't this perfect, innocent kid growing up, but I did do my time for the things I did do wrong. What I haven't done wrong is this. And why do I have to suffer? Because I did make mistakes in my past. Everyone makes mistakes. I'm not saying to forgive me for my mistakes in the past, but I paid for them. This I did not do. And I'm adamant about, I just want a fair trial. I just want someone to look at this. I am willing, like always, to take lie detector tests. I'm willing to take 3 different lie detectors in a row to prove how innocent I am, because I'll never fail that lie detector test. Why are they scared to give it to me? Why are they scared to show that the truth is I'm innocent? I'm home around the country who have been victims of all these cops. This is now my goal. Everything's happening for a reason. This is my calling in life, to help raise money, to help get men and women freed from prisons nationwide who don't belong here. Thank you, and God bless everybody for listening to me. God bless you, John. Happy New Year and health. I wish to everyone that's listening, all the listeners, people that want the truth to come out and freedoms of this country again, not just for me, but for everybody around this country. I love America. I love this country. I am not the person they're trying to make me out to be. And I'm not saying I was ever an innocent kid. We had hard lives. Unfortunately, it took me a long time to understand that. But I'm a different person now. Yes, I have a temper, and yes, sometimes I talk and I shouldn't open my mouth. And yes, I know it gets taken out of content. But overall, I'm a changed man. I believe in God, I believe in America, and I believe in the truth. And God bless everyone who helps me.
You know what I like about Benny, about all this, and I don't know him. Hopefully one day I get to meet him. But not in one of these questions he said, let me out, get me out. He just wants somebody to look at his case and look at the facts that he has. Not in one of these, right here, not in one of these. Does he say, let me out, get me out? He's saying, I just want somebody legit to look at the paperwork. I mean, that's what I'm getting from it.
Listen, I'm a guy that was caught in the system, right? And I've met and I've said it. 99% of law enforcement, I believe in my heart, as an ex-guy that was on the street, are good people. I believe there's always going to be that percentage in any field that aren't. But I also understand that when people on any job or any situation protect other people in that situation, they're only ruining that system. And people need to take a stand, because I know in the past he committed crimes.
And he
I know him since we're a kid.
Yeah,
I committed crimes. And there was times when I got hurt bad by the wrong police officers. And they accused me of things that weren't true. But I understand there's a fear factor with them. I'm past that stuff. But he's in the middle of that stuff. So, of course, he's passionate. He lost his life. He's getting older. And for the people that don't know, he had a heart attack. He had a serious... he has health issues. And he's in jail through COVID and some other thing. He's got a mom that's aging. So, and he's got children out in the street. So, people say, and I hear it all the time, well, I don't feel sorry for John. And I don't want anybody to feel sorry for me, because my life's not about John anymore. I'm not in trouble anymore. My life's about helping different people that at one time I wish somebody would help me. And then I'm helping people, whether they're Bennies and they're friends of mine or they're strangers, but I just want them to get a fair shake. So if he's telling the truth, then give him that lie. If you believe he's lying, give him that lie detector test.
Just be fair.
Just give him that lie. Start there with the lie detector test. And let him take that lie detector test. Because I know him. He wouldn't be so animate. He would just write me and say Merry Christmas and Happy New Year, and he wouldn't be doing this.
He would say, fuck it, I'm here, yes. I'm done, there's nothing I can do.
And on some of law enforcement, other people that are around on this case, legitimately, maybe they don't know what this other cop did. So I'm not going to say they did. Maybe they were just snowballed like he was and screwed over. But as far as the attorneys, he knows what the attorneys did to him because they're his attorneys. So if he's saying they sold him out, then that's his feeling. He was close to him. He knows them. He knows what evidence they had. He knows what they didn't do for him. He knew what they hid. Now, this is going to come to light one way or another eventually, like everything does. Everything surfaces. And when it surfaces, then people will find out, just like we find out a lot of things, but it needs to get the attention.
Again, what sticks with me is, a lot of people when they write things like this and so on and so forth, get me out. Do whatever you can to get me out. I'll give you money when I get out, blah, blah, blah. He's not asking that at all. He's just asking to have someone legitimate and fair look at the facts that he's come up with. My last question, basically, what was the total sentence that he got? How much time did he get? I know he's been in 9.
He's got about 19 years.
19 years. And that's he got state prison, right?
Yeah, he's in state prison. He's in a penitentiary.
Yeah.
He's in a max. He's not in. He's also, and the problem is when you're in jail, you get frustrated. Sometimes you say things on telephones or you write things, and you don't mean it.
Yeah.
But unfortunately, when you say it, they're going to lock you down in solitary confinement, and they're going to say it's for the safety of the person or safety of other people. And a lot of people talk and say, how many wives have said, "Oh, I'll kill my husband," and 999 million of them don't mean it. But that one does it, so it'll say, law enforcement will say, we have to protect, somebody.
Because you never know.
Because you never know.
And that really puts law enforcement in a bad position, because if they don't do anything and then that's that 1 in a billion. But you got to understand now you got to understand his side, because I was there. You're so frustrated. You want to put your head through the wall. Yeah.
You're in solitary confinement. You're emotional. You're the biggest tough guy in the world. You're going to cry. You're going to hit walls. You're going to curse. You're going to say you're sorry to yourself. You're going to say, why did I say something stupid? I'm just trying to release it somehow. So I would say overall, people don't mean what they're saying. But again, the problem is you're all we are. So first off, let me go back to something, because you run, these sites, and when you put them, can we put a GoFund on the link for him on the show?
Yeah, absolutely.
So
we just got to make a website and we throw it up. So by the time this is out, there will be a GoFund, and so anybody watching this, listening to this, in the description will be the GoFund. We haven't made it yet, but it will be there. And $5 helps, $1 helps. It don't matter how much. Anything helps.
In whatever is sent, there will be not one penny going to us, the show, or anything. It would go to his lawyers or anybody that's going to help him, investigators. Hopefully he gets a second look, and hopefully he can get his life back. And when he comes home, start a new life away from the street, away from. And I know he's frustrated with the gangsters out there and the mobsters and these people, and to me, everybody knows how I think. You got to stay away from anything that's negative, and they're negative. So he could start a new life when he comes home, whether it's tomorrow, next year, or whenever, and spend it with his kids, his family, and he's got to forget who he used to be, because that'll only bring somebody like him back into prison.
Well, he says that his calling is prison reform. So it sounds to me like if this is all true and somebody takes it up when he gets out, that his calling is prison reform.
Yeah. Well, I think he's sincere. I know him a long time.
Sounds sincere to me.
And he really does have a heart of gold, and and the problem is, like Tyson. We talked about Tyson on our last show. You get guys that are dangerous, and people don't want to like them because they're dangerous. But there's also another side of people. Everybody's not one-sided, and as you age, you mellow. And in my heart, I really believe he's completely innocent. And as his friend, I need to, and I had to do this to try to help him, because I want him to get that look, and whether it's Hines or anybody else, they should look at it. It's not going to kill them to look at it again, and it ain't going to kill anybody but a couple of seconds to give them a lie detector test. So that's the simplest thing to do. And while they're working on the case, and the people I handed over his paperwork to, I read a lot of these statements, and they say it wasn't him. So, why isn't this brought forward? And he was wearing black, not white. it's a completely different color.
And he didn't get the discovery. I've never even heard of that ever happening.
Well, they're going to deny that part, and I don't know how you can prove the discovery part. They're going to say they handed them everything, things went missing, whatever. I don't know what they're going to say because, to that extent, I'm not an attorney. But you need an attorney. And so, again, anybody that's interested to help Benny Geritano, you're interested in the case, if you're people out on the street that advocate for the rights of citizens, Constitution, and you want to help, go to the GoFundMe that will be put on the page for them. And God bless everybody. Happy New Year. Anybody else that's in that situation and they want us to take a look at it, you can contact us through the show, through my website, through my Instagram, truejohnelite.com, and or through Tommy and here, and we'll air your show.
Yep, and we'll have everything in the description, the GoFundMe, your website on both of our channels, and we'll do whatever we can. I believe him.
Yeah,
I believe him. I don't think a guy's going to talk like that and be lying. I just don't.
Well,
I think the questions would have been different.
Say a special hello to his mother, Cece. Happy New Year, and hopefully your son's home soon.
Happy New Year, miss.
God bless
Sorry you got to
everybody.
deal with that. Either way. All right, John. Anything else?
No, that's it. Thank you.
I wish you the best, Benny.
See you next week, Benny.
All right.
It's a beautiful morning in New York City.